If you could see what's been going on and how I've set this up, you would not be watching this. But welcome. I'm your host. Hi, Madison Schwartz, and welcome to Play Your Own Game. Clearly, I'm not alone. Bo is with me. One of the first guests. Bo, you want to say hi? Whatever. You shy. The only reason that I'm in jeans and a top is because I'm about to go out to dinner. So don't hate. I am very excited to start this. It has been something I've been developing for so fucking long. We're going to focus on college today and what it was like for me, which was not great. It was not great until maybe the last year. We're back. A little bit of an outfit change. I'm back from dinner. I'm ready to dive into why college was not the best 4 years of my life. The episode is in air quotes. That was intentional. And that is a term and a saying that, oh my God, someone's calling me. I'm so popular. I can't answer that. I have not heard from this guy in a long, long time. Sorry, honey. This is the bone I have to pick. There's this, at least how I grew up and where I grew up and my siblings. And what everybody has always told me my whole entire life is college is the best 4 years of your life. And it makes sense why you'd think it would be. Most people, you don't have to pay for it yourself if you're lucky enough. You get to live in a college town with people all your age. Your only job is to go to class and then you can party your ass off. The responsibilities are far and few between. So it makes sense why this phrase exists, but it was said so much to me in a way where I built up college to be exactly that. And it just, if anything, I would say it was some of the worst years of my life. We're going to go in years here. We're going to start with freshman year all the way to senior. I had 4 years at UC Santa Barbara. What a school. Isla Vista is exactly how you think Isla Vista is if you didn't go there. You can afford not to. I'm kidding. It was actually a lot of fun, and I had a really great time junior, senior year especially. But let's talk about freshman year. Honestly, it sucked. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. There's no way people have the best freshman year. At least for me, I for sure didn't. But I feel like everybody makes a ton of friends. They're living in the dorms. They're meeting a lot of new people. Those friends that they make in the dorms honestly become their friends throughout college, or a lot of them do. I feel like that's what I heard a lot of. And that just wasn't my luck. I didn't live in the dorms my freshman year. I lived at Tropicana Gardens, which is athletic housing, because I was indeed an athlete. I played water polo. What a time that was. I played my whole life, and honestly, thank God I did, because I couldn't have gotten into UC Santa Barbara if it wasn't for water polo. So things do happen for a reason. I don't think everything happens for a reason, but things sure do work out in weird ways. So it got me into this school, and I was grateful for that. But I didn't live in the dorms. Lived in the athletic housing, and you're so sectioned off, and I really only met athletes. And honestly, the sports teams there don't really intermix. At least that's just how it was for women's water polo. I don't think we were the cool sport. Women's soccer was cool, so shout out my best friend because she was knee deep in all the popular parties, but I don't know, I feel like women's water polo was not. And a lot of the freshman girls on my team just weren't crazy inviting, and even the older ones were even less inviting. Sorry. The energy just was not it was not a welcoming space. And again, everything is new and freshman year is scary. So to be expected. The friends that you're making when you're in athletics are not, I think, your handpicked, selected friends that you gravitate towards genuinely. It, like, say if you were living in the dorms, you're hanging out with people. Yeah, you might be in the same place, but you're hanging out with them because you're choosing to spend time with them. The head coach, which, okay, if you are thinking of playing a collegiate sport and the end goal or your goal is to have longevity in that athletic space, which I think a lot of people's, that's their end game or their goal. Like, who wants to quit 1 year in? I don't think anybody does. You need to check the track records and the receipts of that team. Stalk the head coach and the transfer rate that it has from that team that you're looking to get into to other schools. Check how long players stay on that team and under that same head coach. Because if I'd have investigated a little bit more, I would have found a lot of dirt on the UCSB women's coach. And I ended up collecting the dirt as I was there, which, whatever, firsthand experience. And it was just a fucking shitstorm. Do your research if you're thinking of playing collegiately. And that's all I'll say on that. I'm not even going to get into the like deep inner workings of what went on. That's a whole other topic, and I honestly don't want to get in too much trouble. Not as much trouble as the head coach is already in because she's been suspended multiple times. So I ended up quitting. I hate using that word because I'm not a quitter, but I did indeed quit my freshman year towards the end because it just was unhealthy, and I loved water polo. I played it since I was 9, and I didn't want that environment to taint my whole picture of my water polo career. So I ended up stopping, and that's insanely hard because as an athlete, and that's really your identity. So that first year going into second year, I had no idea who the fuck I am. At that point, I have no fucking idea. You're an athlete. That's all people ask. There's really no, so what are your maybe there's the quick, what are you majoring in? But everyone knows how that goes and, whatever. Freshman year, such a bust. Second year, we're going to switch into sophomore here, and fucking COVID came around. And I'm not even going to talk about COVID because I even hate that term. Everyone knows what that was like. You're not at school, you're not in class, I'm not making any friends, and all the friends that I had on water polo, they kind of dissed you the second that I wasn't on the team, and there was nothing to talk about anymore, even with the ones that I kind of hung on to a little bit, because they're living that schedule that you once had, and that's so honestly sad to hear that. Not sad because I was happy that I was no longer in it, but sad because you're sort of witnessing what you could have been doing and now you're not. So you just had to pave your own trail. And I was living at home the whole sophomore year because my parents weren't going to pay for me to not be in an in-person class, which I totally understood. I feel like so many people made such good friends over that COVID year because all you're doing is hanging out. School is honestly a forethought at that point. I don't know, part of me really wishes I did kind of beg my parents and like fucking give them a left kidney to just let me stay that year and fuck around, because I do think I would have made some strong roots there that I would have loved to have, but things happen for a reason and I didn't. Junior year was so fucking hard because then you're coming in after freshman year, which no friends, no identity. I don't even know what I don't even know what I want to major in. Sophomore year, you're not even there. And then junior year, everything is happening at warp speed. Everyone's going crazy. In-person classes are happening. What am I to do? I have to get some tea for this one. So, your girl ended up joining dun, da, 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 sorority. Alpha Chi Omega, the finest there is. Fucking what was I thinking? I don't know. I needed a sense of community. So I joined a sorority and I did Rush Online, which honestly, thank God I did Rush Online because if I didn't, holy fuck, I would never have joined anything. Those girls are ruthless. They are fucking ruthless, those chicks. As someone who's been behind the scenes of recruitment, Alabama Rush was not just Bama. We're not that hardcore, but it's scary. I ended up joining Alpha Chi Omega, and again, I'm glad I did. It gave me a little bit of a, it gave me a little bit of a social calendar. You end up having events with other fraternities and sororities, and it really does just throw you in the mix with a ton of girls. But 99% of those girls were not for me. They were nice girls, but none that I really connected with. I don't know what it was. There was nothing more than just saying hi and bye, like in the house. Or you're all drunk together at a frat party and like you're not really making any true connections there. And even the Greek life calendar is not for me. I hated fraternities. I hated them. You walk in the fraternity, you're getting sized up. The fucking ratio, fuck that ratio. There's 50 girls and like 10 guys, and the 10 that are there are absolutely atrocious. I'm so sorry to all the Zachs and Chads and Brads and Dylans. If you weren't being the sluttiest slut, you probably weren't gonna hook up with anyone that night. And I was fine with that. I was honestly fine with that. I really didn't give a shit. And you're not to the point where like you're not even connecting with your sisters. You're just looking for somebody to kind of hook up with, and that just so was not my thing. My ideal Friday night was not a themed gathering, which is what the sororities and fraternities hosted. It was playing beer die at my buddy's house. Like, that was the shit. So immediately, Greek life was not for me. The novelty of like having that social calendar wore off in 20 minutes. Nothing will make you feel more out of place than seeing hundreds of girls loving what it is that they're doing and you being like, well, what the fuck is wrong with me if I'm not going out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'm not hooking up with a ton of guys or talking to a ton of guys or have the perfect outfit for this party that's coming up in 2 weeks. If I'm not excited to be doing that, then I don't belong here. It's interesting because you do find your people. Like, if you are in Greek life right now, whether it's a fraternity or a sorority, and you kind of have that feeling of, what the fuck am I doing here? Listen to it, but I don't know, I wouldn't act on it. I would wait it out. Truly wait it out. Spend some time in that atmosphere. You're gonna find the black sheep like you, which are the ones that are the last into chapter meeting and the first out. You make fun of all the shit that's coming up. You talk shit about all the girls in the house or all the guys in the house. You're going to find those people. I was lucky enough to find 2 of those girls while I was living in the house. And it's not even only the social scene that kind of killed me. It was even academics. I mean, I was getting C's and D's for 2 years. The quarter system, for those of you that don't know, or if you're on a semester, it moves insanely fast. And if you miss even 3 days of class, you're probably missing a whole entire section that's going to be on your test. Academics were not my strong suit. Playing my sport gave me a lot of, wiggle room in the academic department. So I had decent grades in high school, but I wasn't that straight A student that could have gotten into UCSB solely. So I was hit so hard with the quarter system, and I was doing so terribly where not only did I feel like socially I was having such a fucking hard time, but I'd be in these classes and all these people are just, they get the information so quick and they're doing so well on tests and they're absolutely thriving. And they're also balancing partying and going out and social life, and they're balancing it so well. So in my third year, I came in and I wanted to study communications. So that was the major. It was my sister's major. It's broad enough to like you could get kind of any job or go into any field with that major because I wasn't sure. But I didn't get into that major because I didn't make the GPA requirement. And if you don't make the GPA requirement, you're fucked. And mind you, I was a little behind, or I felt so, because in athletics, they're requiring you to take less units because of your sport, which let me let you in on a little secret. They're asking you to take less units, so then you're probably going to have another quarter. You're going to have to pay for another quarter to take the rest of your units, and that's money for a college. So take as many units as you can without killing yourself. And that's a little tip from me to you. I had to sit up for this one because I couldn't get into the communications major. And it's a pretty it's one of the most impacted majors at UC Santa Barbara. So I ended up, after careful consideration, I ended up switching my major to sociology, and I actually enjoyed the classes. It was very fun, and it just worked out that a lot of the classes that I had taken for communications really applied over and filled a lot of requirements and a lot of gaps for sociology. So it was the best major that I could switch into where I didn't have to do an extra year at UC Santa Barbara or an extra quarter. Because A, who wants to have a fifth year, and B, my parents weren't gonna pay for another year. So whatever, which I completely get. Before, when I was making that decision, and I remember I forgot what I got. I think I received an email, or it was after my past, like there's past times where you sign up for classes, and it was before the past time, and it sent UCSB, Chancellor Yang, no, not him directly, but UCSB sent me an email that said, basically, I'm just spark noting here, but hey, you didn't make the GPA requirement that is required to enter upper divisions for the communications major. I saw that. I thought someone was joking because you just feel like you're fucking failing. I mean, you failed at water polo and now you're failing at academics, and I just thought it was over for me. So not in that way, but in the way where you're like, yes, there isn't any more of a sign that is that I just don't belong here and that I shouldn't have gotten accepted. Because without even playing water polo, the only reason I felt like I was there was for that sport, and academically I obviously couldn't make the cut. So I remember calling my mom in the car. I'm having a nervous breakdown outside of my sorority house, saying how I need to drop out of college. It was calming me down for a long time. I called my brother, I called my sister, I called my brother's friend for his advice, and they were all, actually that was probably one of the most, like, that was the most sensitive I think my family has ever been to me, because they knew I was fucking like going insane and I was going through it. Normally they're assholes. It actually got to a point where my mom was coming to terms and accepting the fact that I said I wanted to drop out. So good for her for honestly not giving up on me. I didn't drop out. I got my degree. I got so on top of my shit. I sought out a counselor that was not, it was an LNS, which is the whole entire Letters of Science building that really needed to help me navigate what classes I needed and be on time for graduation. And I also sought out an advisor in sociology that helped me personally as well. So both of them, honestly, I could not have graduated on time if it weren't for them. Seek out your fucking counselors. I became best friends with my counselors. I would email them every day. I think they hated me. I would stop in every other day, sometimes just to chat with my sociology advisor because she was a G. I would text one of the other ones. So we got close, and that's the way to fucking do it. I started to get not good, but I don't know, I started to become more of a nerd where you just need to learn how to play the game. I was never sitting in class absolutely enthralled by what it was I was learning. And I thought all these kids who are getting such amazing grades, like they must love what they're learning. They must want to be what this class entails. And there was nothing that I ever took that made me feel like that. And that's why I thought they got such good grades. Then I realized, find out what it is. Each professor wants something different. Find out what the fuck it is they want and do exactly what it is they want. Don't get creative. Don't. Honestly, don't. That will be the only time you'll hear me say that. Don't get creative. Don't do the fucking extra credit. Don't be a tryhard. Do the bare minimum. That's going to be a phrase that nobody likes. Do the bare minimum. Because some professors don't really care. They really don't care. They want to hear exactly what it is that they've been shoving down your throat. They want to hear that regurgitated onto a page. That's all they want to hear. I ended up also adapting to the quarter system a lot better, which I hadn't at first, and that takes fucking time. So whatever. If you're not swimming with the fishes immediately, you will. Trust me. Or swimming with that's not even a saying, but whatever. My mom's screaming at my dogs. Can you hear? So that was my third year where everything started to kind of piece together. So much so, like I could kind of relax in my classes. I used to be so stressed. So stressed. I started to relax in my classes. I think so much so that that third year, spring quarter, I ended up going drunk to a class so I could flirt with a cute boy. It was mimosas at like sunrise for that 9 a.m. But I ended up taking it a lot lighter. That class was easy. Now we're entering the fourth year. And this is when shit got so much better. I wasn't dropping out anymore. I wasn't as depressed. No, I'm kidding. I was never depressed, but it was fucking sad. It was sad girl era. I had to knock out that idea in my mind where I thought I would meet my husband. I barely wanted to look at half the guys there. Half of them didn't like me. I'm not like other girls. And here's where it gets good. Finally, into my senior year, this was winter quarter, and I met my husband. I'm kidding. I didn't meet my fucking husband. Jesus Christ. And I don't want to meet my husband. So there's that. My psychic told me I haven't. So sorry. I ended up meeting my best friend. I have not had a best friend since middle school. And that ended up in a friendship breakup, which was incredibly sad. And that was someone who I classified as a best friend, but you grow up and you just realize how different you are. And what I expected from a best friend was not, we outgrew our relationship, so that's okay. I always envied all the girls who always had that best friend. But anyone I ever hung out with, all of college, I didn't feel as comfortable. And I met my best friend. She's going to come on here and we're going to actually go into the ins and outs of our relationship because we're practically married. But I knew about her for actually a long time. And we finally had a class together. and we had friends, mutual friends. We like hit it off one day, and honestly, the rest was history. And that was recent. That was a little over a year ago. And she is my absolute sister. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I would absolutely take a bullet for her. And I don't think I could say that about anybody but other than my family and my dogs. So that's pretty crazy to me. I can count the amount of people I can trust on one hand. And that took me a long time to find. Maybe timing is weird like that too. I kind of met her when I really needed a best friend. Like the world, the universe is so fucking silly in that respect. I do think people come into your life for a reason, and my best friend 1,000% came in at my life for a fucking reason. Senior year wrapped up incredibly nicely. I was kind of being exactly what it is that you see, which I was balancing academics, I was balancing partying, I was going out, I was getting good grades, I graduated, I had so much fun with a lot of my friends, and I say a lot of my friends, like a little group of mine. I wanted to end on a light note because, yes, honestly, college was not the best 4 years of my life, and thank God it wasn't. I'm actually very glad that it wasn't because there's so much more to look forward to. And if you're lucky enough to get out of it with one person who you trust with your life, then I say it's a successful time. And even given some of the shit that I went through in it, it was actually very important to go through. So college is important, so stay in school. Don't drop out like I was about to. When you get your degree and you walk across the stage, you do feel really great. And UC Santa Barbara does not hurt to be a graduate from. It doesn't really seem to be helping me too much right now, considering I work part-time at an athletic company. But who knows? Maybe it fucking will. I don't really know. It ended up being great. So, you know what I think is the shittier your first 3 years, the better your last year is going to be. Or maybe the shittier year two. I don't know. Break it up, split it up how you feel. You know, spice it up on your own and splice up the time between shit and great. But mine was, I can't do math, but mine was like 80% bad, 20% good. Well, thank you for watching this really stupid episode on how college was not the best 4 years of my life. I know you really cared. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Madison Schwartz, and this is Play Your Own Game.